Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we've done a few videos on cold stone massage, and I thought because you do enjoy foot massages, I could show you some of the really easy ways to do some cold stone massage on the feet. It's not the only way of doing it, but it's definitely one way to use the stones. So my advice would be either do a training course or watch all of the different videos that are available on YouTube, because you'll pick up lots of different tips and lots of different ways to use them. If you haven't already seen them, I've got an introduction to it. I've got the hands and I've got the face. So this is the feet. So at some point I'll try and do the back as well, but I don't have all the large size stones for the back, so it might have to be a modification. But what we'll do just now is we'll pop some massage medium onto the feet. Now you could also do this if you wanted with your foot cream, your body cream. It doesn't always have to be a massage medium. But this is just a light one just now, just to give us, as I always say, the slip and slide. With cold stones, they're cold at room temperature, but you can also pop them in the fridge if you want to, or pop them into cold water. But as I've said in the other videos, just be sure that they're not too cold. Just in the same way that hot stones can be too hot, you don't want cold stones to be too cold. So what you can do, there are different areas of the foot that are quite sensitive. So I wouldn't want to start on the underside of the foot, because that could be ticklish or quite shocking. So somewhere around about here, I've got my cold stone, and I could just start with it here and introduce it. And then I could ask the client if that temperature was okay. If I just shocked them with the cold stone, they could jump. And again, areas of sensitivity, it's quite sensitive under here. So if I just go straight in with a cold stone, that could shock someone, and then it's not going to be as enjoyable as it could be. So always ask and start off in an area that's more used to the extremes of temperature. What you can also do is, I've got one stone and I can move it between the hands, but you could always use two stones and work together. So you do have the choice, but sometimes I actually like just to use one stone in the hand and then a free hand, because then you're getting the best of both worlds there, but you're also controlling the massage. You can actually feel within the muscles and the tissues, you can feel how the skin is responding, how the tension in the foot is responding. And basically, if you want to think about it, you're effleuraging with this stone in the palm of your hand. So nothing's really changing in your basic massage technique. You're just allowing the stone to move in the palm of the hand with you. So that's an idea for how you can use the larger stones. And again, I would normally do both sides equally, but just for our demo today, we're speeding it up a wee bit. So that's your larger stones. There's other ways you can do the larger stones as well. You can use the edges of them and you can work in circles just around areas. If you do any foot massage or if you do any reflexology, you can take the edges of the stones. This one's got a little natural edge to it here, and you can just be working along. Sometimes you can actually still feel the little crunchies and the little knots, but you can take the stone and work with it in different ways. You can also work it down the metatarsals in between. And again, if you've got your foot massage qualifications or you're confident in how to do it, then the stone becomes an extension of you. Some of these movements will cross over into different massages that you might have trained in before. Sometimes even when you're doing certain reflexology style moves or deep tissue moves. But just don't be afraid of the stone. And as I say, just think of it as an extension of your fingers and your hands. And again, you could work underneath the toes. You could work and just give them a stretch out. I'm even taking the stone here and I'm stretching out underneath the toes. But I'm always supporting, whenever I'm doing a move, I'm supporting it the other side, because as you've seen in previous videos, there's quite a lot of flexibility in those toes. So if you're going to work on them on one side, support on the other side. I've got smaller stones here. So I tend to work on 1 foot at a time, but if you wanted to just take your smaller stones, you could actually just cool the feet with those stones in your hands. Just work over the feet and just cool them down. So you might not even want to do a massage. You might even just choose to use these stones just to cool down the feet before you move on to another treatment. So it's not always about taking the stone and using it to perform a particular massage movement. Maybe you're doing your own luxury pedicure, and part of it is that you want to introduce heat and introduce cold. And you might say, right, what I'll do is I'll just take stones and I'll just take them over the surface of the feet just to cool them down. So you could do things like that too. And remember what I said in previous videos, when the stones start to get adjusted to the body temperature, they heat up. So what you can do is flip them round, and then the cooler side will be back on the skin again. Eventually they will heat up and they will feel warmer than is useful to be considered a cold stone. So it's the opposite. When it's a hot stone, it cools down. When it's a cold stone, it heats up. These tiny little stones heat up very quickly because they don't have a big surface area, but these ones can be great for just popping in between the toes. And what you can do is you can just pop them in between the toes and leave them. So you can get 1 for each section of the toes. So we've only got 2 here, but you can actually speed them up, and then you can actually put 1 on each side. Again, you can use these because they're tiny, doing little tiny manipulations on the toes, just to give them a wee stretch. Or even again, just if you're wanting to use them just for relaxation purposes, this would be quite relaxing because it's almost like stroking. So you could stroke the toes and stroke the feet, and all you're doing is using these tiny little stones as a guide. So essentially you're just being guided by what feels good here. There's no set routine for these stones. And then finally we've got the spherical stones, and what I would do is just use them in circular movements, just working over the underside of the feet, and just allow the sphere to just move about, try and get behind that heel, just work over the whole foot. It would be a wee bit awkward to work on the top of the foot. It could be done, but I'd say that the base of the foot, the plantar surface, is just so much easier to work on with these ones. And we've got another, this one's slightly larger, this one here. And again, it's cooling. It can be good for anyone that's got a little bit of inflammation, but remember, as long as you know why it's there, if you don't know why it's there, always get it checked by a GP. But it's just quite good at just calming everything down, settling it down, and relaxing. And then you could easily go on to your manual massage moves, your stretches. You could even use cold stones before you did a reflexology. You could introduce a little bit of cold stone into a hot stone treatment, because both can be really effective, and some people love the extremes of temperature. Again, always control it though and make sure it's comfortable. But that's just a little insight into ways that you could use cold stones on the feet. Many more ways than just this. But if you do have cold stones or you want to get them, then just be guided by what feels right. And as long as it's not something that feels awkward or uncomfortable for your client, then you should be okay. Remember, if in doubt, don't do it. But I hope you enjoyed that. Remember, if you don't mind subscribing, it's always welcome. And leave me comments if you want to chat or have any ideas for future videos. And I'll see you again soon.